Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Matt Shoup. I'm the president and the M in M&E Painting and Roofing Solutions. I'm here today with David Stansfield from Farmers Insurance. David, not only are you and I, we've become great friends over the years through working together in business. Like, you're just a great all-around human, and wanted to bring you in here so we can educate our clients who are the same people, they're homeowners, that are having hailstorms and damage to their home. And we were just talking before we hit record how frustrating it is that insurance agents and contractors don't work well together, and they don't educate their clients and consumers on like what the heck is actually going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that.
Hi, Matt. Hi, everyone. This is David Stansfield. You get to see David Stansfield for your insurance needs. And I've been an agent for 25 years. I've known Matt for a long time. And we're excited to bring you some good information today. I think what we'll do is maybe, Matt, I'll just talk about one of the biggest things that I've noticed in this business after being in it 25 years. Insureds really should understand the difference between what's called a replacement cost policy and an actual cash value policy. Specifically, let's talk about roofs. Just because we're in northern Colorado and we get so much hail here between Larimer and Weld County, one of the big things that you want to consider is replacement cost versus actual cash value. So I'll just bring it down to normal language for people. So when you buy home insurance, this is really important. You want to ask for full replacement cost on your roof versus depreciation. And what that means to you is if you have a hail loss, let's say you've got a $20,000 roof, with a true replacement cost policy, you'll pay your deductible, and then they'll replace that roof for you at whatever it takes to buy you a new roof. Mm-hmm. If we compare that to an actual cash value policy, that same $20,000 roof, you'll pay your deductible, and that insurance carrier might say to you, hey, we're going to depreciate it by, we'll just say 5% per year. Mm-hmm. And so if it's a 10-year-old roof, they'll take a 50% depreciation. So that would be probably about $10,000. And so on that claim, you would get a much less amount of coverage and a lot less payout from the insurance company. So $20,000 replacement cost versus about a $10,000 depreciation claim. Ask your agent, ask your carrier, really, really important. Anything else you want to add on that, Matt, from a roofing perspective?
I think just from a general consumer perspective, because you and I, in our business over the years, I've gone through 5, 6 roofs on 3 or 4 homes. We had an office fire, a car accident. I don't know if I'm one of your best.
Don't remind me.
From a loss standpoint, but I didn't ask the question for a long time, even knowing insurance between the two. So somebody, all of a sudden, they have a replacement cost only, a cash value only policy. How much does that really save in premium? I mean, are you saving that much in premium that it's worth having a $10,000 bill if you get hit with a hailstorm?
Yeah, it depends on the carrier, but I can tell you generally you're going to save, I would say on average, about 20 to 25%. It might seem like a really good cost-effective decision, but it really isn't. Long term, it'll cost you a fortune, especially if you have a water loss, a fire loss like you had, and luckily you had replacement cost, or hail here in northern Colorado. So really important. I'm not going to mention any carriers. I don't think it's professional, but I can tell you that a lot of big, well-known carriers, they do actual cash value on roofs. And so really, I'm not just saying this to promote Farmers Insurance, but more check with your carrier to find out if they're giving you replacement cost or actual cash value. I know in our agency, I would say 99% of our insureds have replacement costs. We don't think that it's ethical for us to offer an actual cash value policy unless the insured truly understands that.
In Northern Colorado, I mean, so I started M&D Painting in 2005, our first big experience with insurance and all of the different carriers, and then that relationship with their clients was the Windsor tornado. And I mean, I saw at the beginning how all of these companies handled things. And my experience as a consumer and also on the contracting end is just because as an insurance salesperson, right, it's probably easier for you to sell, maybe not, when you know you're the lowest guy in town. So there's a carrier, and we're not going to name names. They have the
Yeah.
cheapest homeowners insurance in town. But guess what happens when I come out and the home's hit by hail, or it's my office and the office caught on fire and flooded?
Yeah.
They're not covering the claim. Like their policy's low because they're not going to pay out on the back end. And the one thing I can say about farmers as well as other carriers is, like, for me, it's worth the extra money that I spend. Like my office, literally, that thing caught on fire. A dumpster blew up middle of the night. I wake up 5 a.m, fire department, smoke, water, everything. I've got no business going, and you guys are like stroking a six-figure check in
Yeah.
30 minutes after being there.
Yep.
So homeowners, I don't think, understand they're you're spending a lot to save a little upfront in premium when the actual damage happens, because that's when
Yep.
you guys shine. Like that's when
Yeah.
insurance company shines.
It's interesting. And by the way, Matt and I, we haven't even practiced today. He just called me out of the blue and said, let's do this. So we're
Let's
going to
do it.
take
Like, let's
this.
have some
Yeah,
coffee before the
we're going
show.
to take this conversation wherever it may go. But,
Yep.
just today, I had an email from a client who said, I found a little bit of savings with a different carrier.
Mhm.
And then I nicely reminded him that, over the last 8 years, we've paid out over $50,000 in claims. You never once called me to say you were unhappy. In fact, every time that you had a claim, you called or emailed me and said how happy you were with the claim. Is it really worth the $50 a month savings to make that switch? And you bring up a really important part that sometimes people forget. Especially during right now when we're all at home and we're looking at finances, we're looking at expenses, and we have a lot of time to reflect and think about things. I'm not trying to tell people that you always want to go with, a company that costs more, but it really, insurance matters when you have a claim. And you can pay. And if you've never had a claim, then you may not see that value. But the moment you have a claim, you really want peace, protection, and you want an adjuster and an agent that are going to go to bat for you. And, whether it's us or someone else, that's really when insurance matters. And, getting a bad policy with actual cash value is going to be a very, very frustrating experience for you.
And you're right. You don't know, like with my painting or roofing company, you can tangibly see if I charge $4,000 to paint your house, you see that $4,000 going to work right on your house. 3 days
Yeah.
later, you stand there, you see it, you pay me. I perform 3 days after I make the commitment to you. Insurance may never have to perform when you're
Yeah.
making that commitment. And yeah, so people listening that have had an insurance claim and have gotten screwed by another company or found out that that value proposition wasn't there, they'll totally understand that.
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to talk about too is when a hailstorm happens. We've both had experience with us. We speak this language, but most homeowners I run across, whether they get a hailstorm, they call their insurance agent. The insurance agent files the claim. An adjuster comes out, climbs all around the house, and gives them this 20-page document that looks like a foreign Martian language from another planet, right? That like nobody's ever seen, and it's numbers everywhere. Just can you break down the general components of an insurance claim? Replacement value, cash value, depreciation, recoverable, all of that stuff that we
Yeah.
go around and know. Because I think it would really help homeowners to understand when they get this, that it's their money. Like it's their money to
Yep.
put their home back to the condition it was in, and you have to be really careful about giving it to a contractor. So explain what it is, that it's
Oh yeah.
theirs, and why they shouldn't just give it to some dude from Oklahoma in a truck named Billy who knocked on your door.
Yeah. So, in northern Colorado and in a lot of high hail states, we're in Colorado, obviously, but a lot of high hail states, you'll get a lot of people who drive to town. We call them storm chasers. And I don't want to say that all storm chasers are bad, but you just want to be very careful with someone who knocks on your door and is saying, I'm here to climb on your roof as I was brought out here by the city. I've never heard of something like that where that's actually a legitimate city that wants that. So insureds, please be careful when you get hail. No one needs to be knocking on your door saying, I was told to come out here by the city or by your homeowners association. Usually what happens is I would recommend, most important, go with a local roofing company or go with a local contractor. Make sure they have insurance. Make sure they have insurance. We've had many situations over 25 years where work is done on a home, and then we find out that the contractor didn't have insurance. And so then we have a problem because
Yeah. You can't pay your insurance to the homeowner because that contractor doesn't have insurance that just did the work for the insurance money that goes to
it's
the homeowner that goes to them.
it's that, and then we also get sometimes like a defect claim where they did work that wasn't done right, and it's causing damage to the house. So then the insured calls us, and we can't pay on that because it was a defect from the contractor. But if they had insurance, the insured, the customer could get coverage from that. So those are some words of wisdom that I would tell customers out there. Use a local company, make sure they have insurance. Matt's a local roofing company, and so I would recommend using someone like Matt if you have a roofing claim. As far as the estimate, so you asked about the claim estimate. That can look intimidating, and it would be like me looking at something that I don't know a lot about, and that's intimidating to me. But for this, I'll try to make it easy on a webinar. Basically, you're going to have everything broken down. You might have an estimate. We'll just talk about hail. You might have an estimate for siding. You might have an estimate for gutters, roofing, paint, and then maybe some air conditioning damage. And
Mhm.
so it's usually broken down into little sections. And you're going to have a claim that's paid portion. And then you're going to have what's called a recoverable depreciation on there. And so we'll just keep it simple. So let's say on that part of the claim, we're looking at the roof, and the roof is estimated to be $12,000. So the insurance company will normally say, okay, here's a check for 70% of the $12,000 roof up front. And then once you do the work and you provide receipts to your carrier, they'll pay the insured the difference, and then you can in turn pay your contractor. And they call that recoverable depreciation because you get to recover that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And backing up before I follow up on the claim, is you had mentioned a really good point. In no circumstance that I have ever seen in my years of contracting in Northern Colorado, maybe in another state or another part of the United States, the city, the HOA, whatever the powers that be, will never send out a contractor to knock on your door to inspect your roof.
I've
That is a homeowner, and you made a really good point, but really just to drive that home, like in Northern Colorado, for people that are looking at this, correct me if I'm wrong, the city of Fort Collins or Windsor, the municipalities, the counties, whatever, Fossil Lake Ranch, HOA, no one is going to say, hey, Billy from Oklahoma in a truck who just drove here for 2 days,
Yep.
to come make some roofs and take some insurance money. Like, they're lying. They're full of crap. That has
Yeah.
never happened, never will, never did.
Yep. No, and I agree. And one other thing I'll mention to that too, Matt, is I have had insureds, and this is really good consumer advice, that if your contractor asks you to sign over the check to them, be very careful with that, because once you sign that check over and they cash it, if they don't do the work, we can't go after them because you paid them and we've paid you. So money should go to you. Wait till you have a contract in writing from a local contractor. Make sure you do research on the internet. They're legitimate. They don't pop up with a local phone number, but with no address. That's something else that we see. And
Yeah. Yeah. The power
pay
of
yourself.
technology. You can make yourself look like you
You
can literally
can.
be remote in Hawaii, making yourself look like you have a satellite office. And like, there's people remotely, they get their leads through Facebook, and they're not even climbing on your roof. That's where the industry is going. Like,
Yep, it
there's
is.
a guy in Illinois that I know, and he's starting a national company parked in Illinois in his home, virtually inspecting roofs through Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And probably using local phone numbers too.
Yeah, no, and it's like, hey, I mean, it's an interesting business model if we want to have that conversation. But I think for our interest in the local Northern Colorado community and homeowners, I mean, you and I have lived here a long time.
Yeah.
Between you and I, we've served how many thousands of people. And here's the other deal. Like this, I don't want this to sound too self-pitchy for me or you. Like, there's so much business for both me as a painter and roofer and you as an insurance agent. Like, if we don't resonate well, there's a great handful of other roofing companies in town
That's
I would
correct.
recommend. If
Yep.
we're not a good fit, I mean, you work with some of them, and actually one of them has given me a lot of insight into me getting into this part of the industry. So I just love how Northern Colorado is collaborative, and
Yep.
everybody plays really well together. It's not like certain industries, and we've talked about this, parts of the country or world where, it's very cutthroat and real vicious. Like,
Yeah.
I love working in this community for that reason.
No, it's a really good point. I think Matt and I would agree is keep your money local, support local people, support local employees, support local companies, ask for certificates of insurance. And there is enough business for everybody out there, as Matt mentioned, and I agree with that. But the important thing about this is I think just definitely use a local company, not someone that knocks on your door.
Yeah. And what I've committed to, like the only door that I'll knock on, and it probably won't even be a door knock, but it's a phone call, is to our own clients that we already have. It's
Absolutely.
ask the
Yeah.
people first if they know of a roofer or if they do roofing. Because you've got general contractors and then individual contractors that maybe don't have a general license, but they can manage a couple of trades. They could do paint, roof, gutters, right? Kind
Yeah.
of. Um,
Let's talk about marring.
about who? About
It's called marring and or
Boring. Okay.
or cosmetic damage. And
Ooh, yes, let's do it.
so this one is something new that we're seeing as a trend in the industry where insurance carriers are specifically excluding cosmetic damage to metal parts of roof. And the logic with that is it's very expensive for an insurance carrier to replace a dented gutter, dented roof vents on a roof, or even a metal roof. It's dented and
Yeah.
so structurally it's fine. So they don't want to replace that. And I understand that. But you want to talk to your agent or company about adding cosmetic damage coverage or marring to your policy. If you don't do that, and a good example is hail again, if hail hits the house and you have an exclusion for marring and you have metal around your windows, that wouldn't be covered if they're dented. Your gutters wouldn't be covered, your garage door wouldn't be covered, but with marring, your insurance policy is a much richer contract and provides you much more coverage. Um,
Have they been backing that out over the years? Because here's the reality
yeah,
is, I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you as an agent, we've talked about this, is the biggest amount of claims that you've had. I mean, it's homeowners insurance where a home in Colorado gets hit by hail, right? And there's
mhm,
fires, floods, but we've talked about this. I mean, hail happens in 80525, 28, 80550,
yep.
Southeast Fort Collins, Windsor. There was the 2014, the 2017, this last one in 2019. That's really the biggest event, right, that produces claims for you guys, isn't it?
Yeah, July 5th, 2019, hailstorm. I still remember that day. I think I have about 1,300 claims and they still come in every week.
Mm,
I did have a settlement yesterday on one claim. This is one claim over $750,000
yeah.
just on one building from that hailstorm. And
Yep.
so they might seem like minor events when you just look at just your house, but when you extrapolate how big that claim can be, it's hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars to any insurance company.
Yeah.
So marring, make sure you have the marring,
Love it.
make sure you have replacement cost, code upgrade. The city of Fort Collins now has a class 3, class 4 impact resistant
Or
requirement.
yeah,
Is
they
that
call
right?
for a class 4. Absolutely.
Class 4? Okay.
Mm,
Check with your carrier to see if they give you a discount for that roof. We do at Farmers, we do a class 3 or class 4.
yeah.
Um, and it's a good thing, right, Matt, for the class 4, would you say?
It is, yeah. It's a code requirement, and we'll get into one more thing. I'm going to kind of table is about how roofers don't educate consumers on what's actually happening up on their roof. But yeah, every municipality is going to require a certain degree minimum standard, and it's a class 4 in Fort Collins. And then, like on my house, we did the Spanish tile when
Yep.
I had that 2013 claim, and that actually reduced my premium even more so. So you go class 4, start getting into concretes and all of these more durable materials. Yeah, ask your provider if you can get a discount for that. Sometime I paid that money out of pocket to pay that difference because I knew it would reduce my premium. It was like by a third, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Um,
my building, this is a good one. My building has a stone coated metal roof. So they look like shingles and they're nice because they're light and they hold up really well to hail. But
yes.
and a lot of insurers are going to that kind of roof. I think one brand is Decra and I don't remember the other one.
Correct.
Um, so that's where you want to watch out because if you have a marring or cosmetic damage exclusion, if that roof is beat up from hail, that insurance company isn't going to help you on that one. But if you have that endorsement added back on your policy,
Hmm.
if it's dented up, they would replace that roof for you.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. So yeah, with that metal, you've got the coating over the top that would hopefully prevent some of that metal from being
Yeah.
damaged. And you can't tell. I mean, your roof, it just looks like a shingle or an asphalt roof.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really cool. One other thing I wanted to jump into is, and I've seen this a lot, and I don't know how much you've seen it, but before even I was educated on the roofing end, this is a newer division that we're launching within M&D Painting. We've been in business 16 years, but as I was learning about roofs, my first hail claim at my old home in Hunter's Run, West Loveland, we got hail. I called you, filed a claim, called out the roofer. The roofer did the paperwork. I signed some things. I didn't really know what was going on. And then they're up there pounding and ripping and throwing and had no idea about the components of a roof, what goes on there. How important is it? And what do you think the value is from a contractor really just explaining the process? Because like people will look at paint and it's right in front
Oh,
of your face, but I've never seen a client climb up and walk a roof. You don't know what's going on up there, or
yeah.
that they pulled permit, or that they did underlayment, or that they did the right flashing.
That's really important. You have to trust your roofer, and I cannot emphasize that enough. I think part of that trust is shaking hands with them, maybe asking them for pictures to verify that, hey, they did look at everything, that the paint's actually damaged, and if it's damaged, did they actually paint over it? Is this, in that example you brought up. You have to be very careful because most of us don't want to get on the roof, and that's why we hire a good company to do that. So I don't know if I have the perfect answer, but if you can use somebody local that has good reviews, I think you're going to have a great advantage over someone who is not local.
One of the things that we really like to do and that we've committed to do with our clients is when we come out there, we pull a report. It's one-click code. It shows them what the code requirements are and explain that language to them, that we explain the shingle, the manufacturers, the specifications, the installation guidelines and specifications, and we leave them with a book. We
Yeah.
actually pull permit. Like in certain municipalities, you don't need to pull a permit. You don't even need to be like in Longmont. You don't need to pass your ICC exam and have any kind of
Wow.
license at all. State of Colorado doesn't require it. Like Fort Collins
That's a good thing.
requires it. So did
Yeah.
they pull permit? Did they close the permit? Did you get a final inspection? Because I'm a licensed real estate agent, right? So when you go to sell a home that you put a new roof on, but that new roof didn't have a permit pulled, there was no inspection, no record of it. Guess what that means for your real estate sale? You didn't put a new roof on.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
that happened to one of my clients. There's a guy in town, and we're not going to say his name, but he's a knucklehead. He's not Billy in a truck from Oklahoma, but he's here in town. He's going up and down a street in a Southeast Fort Collins subdivision, doing roofs, taking money, not pulling permits.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not a good thing because it's really not that expensive to pull a permit. It protects the insured, and guess what? You got to check, which is the roofer, and then you got the balance, which is the city, and the city will send out an inspector to make sure that the roofer or the contractor did a good job. And they're not there to make anybody's life difficult. They're there to make sure that the work was done right. And I've had many claims where something was missed, not intentionally by a contractor roofer, and the city will come out and notice that, and the insured will call the contractor, and they'll come out and fix it right away. So it's a
Yeah.
good thing that we have a check and balance like we do in Fort Collins.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think just with those things, not only that you're hiring a local company with great reviews, but like take the time to, homeowners don't know what they don't know. They don't know what to ask. So make sure that you ask for these reports and ask these questions, and
Yeah.
just a little bit of basic education. And if you have a roofing contractor or any contractor that just wants to sign the contract, get the money, and then jump on the roof and start ripping and banging and installing, I'd slow the process down and just
Yep.
ask some questions. And if you have one that's really taking the time to answer the questions you didn't even know that you had, that's an amazing, excellent, authentic, wonderful company, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I think even asking for pictures, ask for the before and the after, because they're up on that roof and they've obviously submitted the pictures to the insurance company, showing that the damage was there or the adjuster did. And then to get the payment back to the customer, they have to provide proof that the work was done. And feel free to ask your roofer or your contractor for copies of, hey, did you actually do the painting? Did you replace the vent jacks? Did you use a felt underlayment? Those kind of things,
Mhm.
really important.
Let's close with this, because you and I we were having coffee. We were kind of shooting the breeze a little bit, and we were both getting a little maybe frustrated, maybe a little pissed about this. But I have a client. He's a great friend of mine. Like, he's not just a customer or client. He's a friend. We're friends. went out to his house, climbed on his roof. There was maybe suspected hail damage. There ended up not being hail damage. But he called his agent when we thought there might have been, and the agent said, yeah, you don't want to file a claim. He said, you need to call one of these three contractors. My friend wanted to use me, M&D Roofing Solutions. And this agent said, we won't say who. He goes, well, I have contractor A, B, C, and I don't know M&D Roofing Solutions. So no, you can't call him. Tell me how, and we know that's the guy's a snake, in my opinion. But as an insurance agent, you cannot, if a homeowner thinks there's a claim and they call and they want you to send your adjuster out, you have to do that, right? You have to file.
Right.
And they have the right to choose any contractor they want. You can't steer or direct. I know you have your contractors that you like and promote. That's fine. But you can't do that.
No, I think Colorado statute is pretty clear on that. It's the same with an auto claim, whether it's a body shop or a glass shop or a roofing company. We are fully supportive of whatever the customer, whoever they want to use. We cannot say to them, no, you're not allowed to use that carrier. I mean, maybe you could figure out a legal way if they've committed some kind of fraudulent act, but I don't think that's the case. In other words, if somebody wants to go to one roofing company or one automotive repair shop versus another, we support that, and we have to, and it's the customer's choice. I've seen some carriers really pushing people to one company. You want to be careful with that. You as a consumer have the right to go wherever you want. You do. Absolutely.
Yeah. And that was something I know that really bothered me. That really bothered him. And I think he's going to fire his agent and call you. And we had that conversation. One last thing. And, the roofers that come out and say, hey, I'll pay your deductible. I'll put my sign in the yard and give you a sign credit for your deductible. It's flat out illegal. The last time I checked, it's completely illegal. And there's still these guys, these contractors that are finding creative ways. So if you have your $20,000 roof, your homeowner's deductible is $1,500. If you're a homeowner, expect to pay $1,500 to have your roof replaced, assuming you have full replacement cost. If a contractor tells you there's any other creative front door, back door, side window way to do that, right, that's totally illegal on the contractor's part. Can the any repercussions for the homeowner doing a deal like that?
A lot of times I'm not privy to what happens with those type of situations. I hear about them once in a while, and I always just, I'm a rule follower, so I just tell the customer, be really, really careful with that, because you don't want to get yourself in trouble with an authority or with the state of Colorado. But I can tell you it is illegal to, I don't know if the right word is rebate, but you're not allowed to pay for someone's deductible. If you're a contractor, they have a contract with the insurance company, and they have a deductible to meet, and that's that's just how insurance works. So as far as I know, it's illegal, and I don't know if it's changing anytime soon, but I don't hear a lot of it, but I'm sure it happens out there.
Oh, it sure does.
Yeah.
So, as we're wrapping up today, anything we shared a lot.
We did. For no practice, and just let it go where it goes.
This was totally off the cuff. But anything else that you'd like to share with your clients or potential clients, my clients or potential clients, the Northern Colorado community as a whole that we haven't yet?
Nothing related to, specific policy language, but just remember this is a very high hail area, and Weldon, Larimer County are usually top 5 in the United States for hail. And so you've got cities trying to do things to help you get better roofs with code upgrades and class 4 roofs. Those are good things. Use your inspector, make sure you are involved in the claim process. Don't be afraid to ask questions to your agent. And, the things that we spoke about today, really, really talk to your agent or your insurance company and make sure you've got the right coverage, so you have that peace when, you have peace and protection when you need it the most.
And I love that. Ask the people that know, ask the experts, ask the right questions. And then I'd also add and close with, if something just doesn't feel right or smell right.
Yeah. Trust your gut.
Based on these things, absolutely do that. Because me, even as a contractor, David, we've had these conversations. Like, I'm a contractor. I've done thousands of deals. And then even on my own deals, I go into one where something just didn't feel right. and I do it anyway because I'm trusting. And then what happens? You know, if it doesn't feel right, just hit the brakes. It's okay. And a great company will allow you to do that and give you that space to do that. And
Yeah.
I'd throw them off your house pretty quick.
And I'll end with this. We've had claims where our customers have called us and they've said, you know, we don't feel right about this person or this part of the claim. And we've gone out, you know, we're probably not supposed to, but we've gone out on roofs and looked at them with our adjuster or with the insured to make sure that everybody's comfortable with everything. I've met roofers out there. My team has met roofers out there, and we do that as needed too. It's just part of the service that we can do to make sure everyone feels comfortable with the claim process.
You guys did that at my house when we had the 13. I remember that. So
yep, that's right.
Well, hey, you know, thanks for hanging out, David. Again, you're a great friend. Have loved doing business with you over the years, and look
Thanks,
forward
Matt.
to it down the road. And we're going to come do round 2 with Spanish coffee. We're going to talk about small business and paella and a whole nother set of stuff for another reason in a couple of weeks. So I'm excited for that too.
Maybe we'll do that one in Spanish.
Ooh, you know, we could. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that one in Spanish.
I love it. All right, my friend. Well, hey,
okay.
Thanks for joining today. We'll see
Thanks,
everybody.
Matt. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.